So I just watched Blink respawn, and yeah, I have some thoughts. That was maybe the best Street Fighter 6 I've ever seen, and maybe one of the best tournaments I've seen, at least top 8s, in a long time. Going into this tournament was pretty interesting because Blink respawn is now a CPT qualifier, has been since last year, but last year there wasn't a point system, so there wasn't as many international players. In fact, the only player who showed up out of Japan last year was Tachikawa, and props to the Dominican players, he was taken down before even top 8. And Noah the Prodigy actually won that tournament over Dual Kevin in grand finals. Men of the RD actually got 7th, losing to Nane Jr. and a surprise upset, double jeopardy by him. And it's also pretty interesting, that was the first offline international major for players like Blas and Crime, the Chilean Wonder Kids, who had like I believe it was like a 7th and a 4th place finish for both of them, Blas getting 7th and Crime getting 4th. So a lot of notable moments in that event, but it was fair to say because there was a lack of the point system, there wasn't as much international representation and not as much international talent in attendance. But that was not the case this year. This year, there was only like about 270 and change players who entered. However, the density of talent was absurd. Pool A1 had Enning Walker, Zingy Pilato, and Tachikawa all in one pool. Pool A3 had Daigo, not Pedro, Oil King crossover in one pool. Pool A4 had Higuchi, Gachikun, Chris G, Brian D in one pool. Pool C3 had Momochi, Knuckle Dude, Problem X. So like literally in pools, you have matches like Dual Kevin versus Moke happening in pools. And that was kind of a heartbreaking match, that one. If you saw it on the first day, Dual Kevin, he goes for the final combo to kill Moke and drops like a basic dry rush conversion. And then Moke and the final very round between the two players makes the comeback and clutches up. And he goes on to have a really good run. But you're seeing like all these crazy matches right away in front of the hype DR crowd. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a buzzkill with this. There was a lot of discussions about Blink Respawn using PC setups for this tournament, which usually that means it's an upgrade from PS5, which overheats very easy and drops inputs and disconnects controllers. Has a lot of problems. So PC is supposed to be an upgrade, but apparently VSync was forced on, and there was a lot of complaints from many people from many different communities about the input delay, at least in day 1 and maybe day 2. I think that was resolved going to day 3. I can't clarify that, but there was a little bit of a stink in the air about that, but also just bodies flying left and right in front of the hype DR crowd, because Blink Respawn is one of the most unique events in terms of the energy. You know, Mena RD is literally a national hero. Rob was saying on commentary how he was at the barbershop and a girl there asked him if he knew Mena RD, right? Like the people of the Dominican Republic, they know Mena RD just as like a representative of the entire island. There's people there wearing Mena RD jerseys, kids and families. The people who go to spectate are not just like, listen, I don't want to stereotype the community, but there's a certain type of person who usually shows up at a combo breaker or CEO, right? I had the chance to go to Game Over in DR in 2019, the previous premiere, when that was a CPT Street Fighter 5 premiere. And I was literally taking pictures with people, and that was pre like YouTube Brian F. I was just a competitor back then. I did a little bit of streaming in YouTube, but I wasn't doing YouTube at the scale I did post-COVID, right? People were taking photos with me, entire families with their kids. So the demographics were like families, like regular people going to see an interesting spectacle for entertainment. And then all the players I played were ridiculous. Players I've never heard of, sitting down on casuals. They're all so good. So the DR community has been like really interesting in that the players, like the level of talent is super high for a lot of players who don't get as many opportunities to travel. And at the same time, they also love their community. They love the hype of the scene, and so it's always a really unique energy. So I love all of the DR events for that reason, and that showed up in this event as well for sure. But for Mena RD though, he wasn't having the best tournament, unfortunately. Mena RD drops to losers in top 48 to Liquid Nephew, who's hot off his win at the mix-up, just got his esports World Cup qualification. And then Tachikawa actually eliminates him with Manon 2-0. So Mena RD, who was the last standing Dominican player in this bracket, was not able to defend the home turf. But if you go through top 48 and top 24, there's just like bodies flying left and right. It's just super stacked, kind of unreal, the level of talent. There's a lot of Ryu action. Fat Kusanagi out of France, who kind of had a lull in his performances after winning UFA last year, being the person to break the Ryu curse, right? First person to win with a premiere with Ryu in quite some time, before we saw the onslaught of Ryu doing work at majors after that. He did have a great showing at Capcom Cup, unfortunately, but here he was back in winner's side of top 8, taking out John Takeuchi and also taking out Daigo as well, so back in top form. And then Nephew was making a really good run through the winner's side as well before he was stopped by Moke. Moke back in good shape as well. Gachikun going up against Fudo for a top 8 qualifier as well. And Enning Walker versus Momochi, the Evo top 8 run back. This time Enning Walker on the Ryu, Momochi Momochi sticking with the Ed. I'm so happy Momochi's back to Ed. I just gotta say, there was a time where Mai was really about to just over centralize the meta. So many top Japanese players were adding Mai to the roster, including players like Moke, but Moke now dual mains Mai and Chun-Li. Momochi, I think, has mostly given up on the Mai. He used a lot of Mai at Combo Breaker, and I believe a bit at CEO as well. Started gravitating back towards Ed for good reason, because his Mai was not doing work, and it was not doing justice to my heart and soul as a Momochi fan. So I'm happy to see him back on the Ed. And Annie Walker with the Ryu had a really close set with Momochi, but Momochi ended up taking that one. But just so many top level sets in top 48. I don't have the time to go through it. I want to give a big shout out though to my boy Psycho from Florida. My boy, we used to play all the way back in the Street Fighter 4 era. He used to always beat me in the Balrog mirror back when he was like 15, 14, and I was like a sophomore in college. He qualified for Esports World Cup with Punk on Team FlyQuest and did a lot of work there. Also had a really great run at Combo Breaker. He got 9th place at Combo Breaker by dropping into losers early in pools, and then went on to beat Problem X and Tokido and a bunch of other top level players there. This run, he ends up beating Pugera and Molina, loses to Gachikun, then eliminates Blas, eliminates Kings Vega, eliminates John Takeuchi, and makes it all the way into top 8. So that is a brutal path for him to take in the top 8. Big plays with the Kimberly there. Tachikawa also making a really deep losers run. Like I said, he eliminated Mena RD, then goes up against Mr. Crimson, eliminates him, eliminates Ending Walker as well. Doing it with Manon. Manon making a run from Tachikawa, so he redeems himself from last year, not making top 8 there. And then meanwhile, Fudo, after dropping that set to Gachikun, cleans up his top 8. And so the top 8 for Sunday was set: Kusanagi versus Moke, Gachikun versus Momochi, Psycho versus Nephew, Fudo versus Tachikawa. Yeah, this was a banger top 8. Unfortunately for Kusanagi, I feel like he kind of lost steam also in top 8. I wanted to see maybe a really good showing from him, since he kind of was missing that, I think, in the later half of the previous season. But Moke was ever solid in that set. It was a 3-0 win, a close 3-0. I gotta give him props, a close 3-0. But Moke was doing super solid with his Chun-Li back in action. And then Gachikun versus Momochi. This was kind of a toss-up for me to call it, because Gachikun has been so consistent. I think Momochi has been really consistent as well, but hasn't closed out as many premier events in the Street Fighter 6 level. But Momochi takes it with a solid 3-1 finish, and we have a Moke Momochi winners finals, which feels weird to say. Momochi has been doing the thing for so long, and Moke has kind of entered that caliber in that conversation since Street Fighter 5 era, right? He had great Capcom Cup and Evo top 8 placements, one of the best to do it since the Street Fighter 5 era. But I feel like both of these players haven't been in a premier grand finals in so long, but to see that was pretty interesting. And also just the number of Japanese players in this top 8 to begin with. Now, Japan has always been super strong. I've always said the strongest region in Street Fighter 6, but generally the rest of the world has been sending their representatives to combat the onslaught of top Japanese players. So usually we have not seen this level of competition from Japan featured in a singular top 8 in an all Japanese winners finals. Kind of like how CEO had all Korea, right? NL and Lashar, now all Japan here in this winners finals. On to losers though. Psycho up against Nephew. This set was kind of sick. Psycho was on one, dude. He's ready. Oh, the Coca-Cola reactions. But he has one more meter. Oh, awkward timing on the DI. Just did it again. Set point for Psycho. No, that's a heartbreaker interaction. It was too early for him to get the DI reaction. It punished him on the drive rush cancel and the level 1 option from Psycho to attack the drive gauge even further. That was that happens to so many people. That round start buffered medium to drive rush and the DI just smokes you. What an option from Psycho that happened to work out. No level 3? Oh, level 3 surely here. No level 3. Level 3 surely at some point before you lose. No, he doesn't, to make himself lose. Wow. Psycho over Nephew. He's been on a tear recently. Nephew was starting to make a big comeback there, and then I think that round start DI interaction, that is just a horrible deficit to have to come back from. Psycho takes it. Only 31% of you voted for Psycho, by the way. 31%. Felt like Nephew couldn't get anything started to begin with. Psycho was making all the reads, playing clean footsies, actually. Nephew, after dropping 2 games, starts to turn it up, but Psycho closes it out. It was nuts. It was nuts. I didn't expect this to go down this way. I think Psycho has low-key become one of the best players in NA
He's been up there for a while, but I feel like he's not as public facing, and a lot of his runs tend to happen off stream. He keeps dropping to losers at odd spots in the bracket and then eliminating a lot of your favorite players off stream. So this was a really good opportunity, I think, for Psycho to be in front of a live crowd, popping off with the crowd, showing his energy. Huge plays to Psycho, and he takes out Nephew. And by the way, they are playing for Esports World Cup qualification. Most of these players are already qualified for Esports World Cup. They're looking for the CPT points to get onto the leaderboard and also for the auto qualifier spot at the end of the grand finals. The only people in this top 8 not qualified for Esports World Cup are Kusanagi, Momochi, and Tachikawa. So they're all trying to fight to earn that spot. So when Momochi actually got into winners finals, he was guaranteed an Esports World Cup qualification. So he got that job done because Moke is already qualified. So no matter what, second and third would have ended up getting those spots at minimum. So Momochi did it there, but Psycho Nephew, they're just playing for those Capcom Cup points and trying to qualify, but Psycho moves on in that set. Then we had Fudo versus Tachikawa, and Tachikawa's dream run comes to an end here. I think Fudo is just showing his dominance at this level. He just came off a pretty dominant win from Topanga League in Japan. So that's like the tournament for those in the know. Whoever wins Topanga and like what goes down in Topanga kind of sets the tone, I feel like, for the season. It's always like a big talking point. So Fudo winning that event is just like, yeah, like this is the dude to look out for right now. And he made history with that. I think he's the only player to have won a Topanga League in both Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, and now Street Fighter 6. So across 3 different titles, spanning how many years has it been? 39 years old, still playing at the highest caliber is Fudo. So that's nuts, that stat point alone. But he takes a 3-1 victory over Tachikawa there. Kind of hard for his Manon to get started back on the Ed, playing a solid, but in that Topanga League championship, he actually did represent a lot of DJ and also Dalsim. So it's not like he only plays Ed these days. It just depends on the matchup and maybe the player matchup as well. But he gets it done here with Ed. Then maybe, is it the best set of the tournament? One of it's a personal favorite of mine. Gachikun versus Psycho. So Gachikun is who put Psycho into losers in the first place. He's the reason that Psycho is here in the losers bracket. And first game though, Psycho pops off, gets the game going. Then every game from here on out, every round, absolute banger rounds, nail biters, reads left and right. But Gachikun ends up taking 2 games in a row to go up 2-1 after some explosive action from both players. Then Psycho takes another game to bring it to a final game situation. Then in the final game, final round situation, run stop, he tried to bait something out, steals a turn with the heavy Arabian Cycle interruption. He didn't believe in Psycho, he wasn't sure. -2, walks away, predicting a DP in the interaction, checks the command dash. This is scrambles. One more interaction, throws the bomb down, the air grab onto the bomb pickup. What the fuck, are you kidding me? Threw the bomb down to dare him to move, scoops him out of the air. Psycho gets the run back on the man that put him into losers. Gachikun is out of there at 5th place. Psycho moving on. He threw the cans down and said, make a move. Make a move. The read, the setup that Psycho sets up to get revenge on the player who put him into losers, throwing the bombs down, then going for the air-to-air, daring him to move and getting the air Izuna drop. I mean, it was cinema. It was cinema. A huge pop-off from Psycho as well. The crowd cheering for him. I mean, Kimberly, listen, we all hate fighting Kimberly, but she brings a breath of fresh air and some excitement to the tournaments for sure. She's a wild card character. She's offensive, explosive, tons of mix-up and rush down, and changes things up from the typical pace of a Street Fighter 6 match. And Psycho, man, he made use of those double bomb setups. There's a lot of times where he's throwing those things down, getting the conversions. If he gets twice in a row for what he's going to go for, if it's going to be a grab or some kind of parry, bait, or shimmy, that pop-up was well deserved from Psycho. The momentum there was huge. Meanwhile, the other losers quarterfinal match, Fudo versus Kusanagi. Once again, I feel bad for Kusanagi, man. I feel like he's so strong. I mean, he did his thing here by surviving this long. When Fudo eliminated Tachikawa, that means Kusanagi earned his spot into Esports World Cup. So he has another chance at a high-stakes tournament with lots of cash on the line to put himself out there and show what he can do. He had such a great top 48, day 2, top 24, but Fudo is looking so good, just absolutely suffocating, sucking the air out of the room with his Ed in this matchup. Kusanagi didn't get anything started. It was worse than, I think, the Moke 3-0. Another 3-0 for Kusanagi, eliminated from the tournament at 5th place. Salute to you, my man. We'll see you at Esports World Cup, but it is not your day at Blink Respawn. Meanwhile, winners finals, Moke versus Momochi. Now, I was worried about this one because these are the two players I look to of like falling for the Mai meta. Listen, I'm biased. I'm sorry. I just don't really like watching Mai gameplay that much. Sometimes it's okay. Every character has hype moments, and when piloted by a skilled player, there's something to appreciate. But I prefer watching high-level Chun-Li, and I prefer watching high-level Ed. So I was a little worried we were going to end up with potentially a Mai mirror, but that's not what we got. So Moke attempted the Mai against Momochi's Ed here. Him getting into Grand Finals winner's side, you know, it warms my old crusty heart. Momochi back in a Premier Grand Finals. Like I said, season 1 of Street Fighter 6, he was still finding his footing. And then with Ed, he really reverted back to his old status. He's a Capcom Cup champion in Street Fighter 4, Evo champion, Street Fighter 4, Evo Japan champion, Street Fighter 5. He's been doing the thing for quite some time at the highest level. And he's of that Fudo caliber or arguably above him. Depends. That's maybe a hot take. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, I believe. But to see him in a Grand Finals on winner's side, it just like really brings me back. Like, wow. And an era where we're seeing so many new champions step forward, young players like Crimea and Blaz, the new generation with like Punk and Mena RD. We saw Momochi there doing the thing, Grand Finals winner's side, back on the Ed, even after all the adjustments, the nerfs to his character, to nerf pretty much him specifically. And he got so close in the previous season to getting into Capcom Cup. He nearly qualified via points in the final World Warrior for Japan. He ended up winning that event, but because Kakadu went too far in the bracket, I believe he got second to Momochi, he ended up jumping him in the points and earned the auto qualifier. That means that Momochi would have to battle it out instead in the World Warrior Regional Finals. And then in the World Warrior Regional Finals, he ends up going up against Fudo and the Edmir, and Fudo wins to take that to go to Capcom Cup again. Fudo's been in like every freaking Capcom Cup, and Momochi has not been a single time for Street Fighter 6 yet. So he got so close, and he's so close once again now, Grand Finals winner side. But on to losers then. Loser semis, Psycho up against Fudo after so much momentum. Unfortunately, Fudo with the DJ ends up halting Psycho. It was a close 3-0, just like with Moke Kusanagi. It was a close 3-0. So Psycho out to Fudo there, and Fudo, I think he got the maracas at the end, was popping off with the crowd, feeling the energy. The crowd was loving the DJ pick. They're getting tired of the Eds, and Psycho out at 4th place. But that is a huge win for Psycho. He had huge, amazing hype moments. So I think he was one of the notable performances at this tournament. Nothing to be ashamed of. He should be super proud of that, and got a nice little chunk of change in terms of CPT points as well. Then losers finals. This is where the narrative starts to become clear. We have Moke going up against Fudo, and Moke here, he goes with the Mai. He wins 2 games free to Fudo. I mean free. I have never seen Fudo get red back to back to back to back like this. Every single string was counter hit, was whiff punished. Every single fireball was jumped. Moke was speed running Fudo. I couldn't believe it. Like, it didn't make any sense to me how consistently he was reading Fudo here.
Brother, success has been crazy. Moke can close it out. Level 1 to do it. Oh my God.
That is the 3rd big read on the heavy fireball.
As Ed gets washed in the first game, his DJ gets washed in the second game, but he sticks with the DJ. Moke needs 1 more game to win the whole tournament, and he goes up onto set point, gets around first, and nearly eliminates Fudo before he brings it all the way back. Then he's on set point again. Fudo is about to be chipped out practically. He has about 2 jabs worth of health, and then he brings it all the way back. Fudo goes for that sway on block when Moke is just a jab away from eliminating him out of the tournament, and Moke just sits there and blocks and eats Fudo's delayed back throw. Obviously, Moke was trying to make a hard read. He was predicting that Fudo would maybe do a reversal. Fudo had up kicks, which would have killed, and supers. So maybe Fudo could have gone for an immediate reversal to challenge Moke for trying to take his turn back. So Moke was trying to block and bait that, but it didn't come. Fudo gets the back throw and is finally on the board in the set and gets a game. And then Moke ends up switching to the Chun-Li to try to like mix up Fudo and steal 1 game, catching him off guard with the pick. And he ends up going on set point again before Fudo then brings it all the way back with 2 more rounds to bring it to a 2-2.
Drivers forward. No, it's going to be fireballs. I like this a lot for Fudo, and the trade off of this.
1 more game.
That guy's good.
And then in the final game,
Fudo actually wins the first round pretty handily and then has Moke burnt out in the corner. Now it's Fudo, and the first time having a set lead, is going for a chip sequence on Moke. He's spending all of his OD drive gauge to loop his fireball sequences, and he's going to go into level 3 into a block string to get a guaranteed chip kill when Moke snipes the last gap available before the super cancel is going to occur to kill him with his own level 3. And then the sequence that follows is absolutely absurd. They're playing the scramble game, and then at the end, I can't believe the last interaction. Fudo has level CA in return. If he gets touched, it's over. He finds the meaty counter hit conversion. No, immediate. Oh my god! I've never seen this. Fudo finds the counter hit stand medium kick, then goes for the Sobot into level 3 to get the guaranteed chip to close out the set, and it whiffs. I have never seen this whiff before in my entire life. And then Moke punishes and takes the round to bring us to a final game, final round between these two players. This should have been Moke set free multiple times, and instead we're now going to the absolute limit after he was staring defeat in the face. Then in the final round, Moke gets an early lead, but he does so by burning all of his resources, including he has no super meter, no nothing he could use at this point. So he finds himself in burnout trying to defend, and Fudo starts chipping away at his life bar. And then at the very end, Fudo goes for a drive rush with his last sliver of drive gauge, puts himself in burnout as well, and then baits out a wake up level 1 from Moke, which would have closed up the set. He's blocking it, he's in burnout, and instead of going for a basic punish, he gets the trade. He burned himself out. No, Fudo blocks it and gets the reversal punish. Does he have the rhythm? He's in DR. Give that man the maracas. Give that man the maracas, please, please.
Yo, he got the maracas. He got the maracas.
He goes for raw level 2 with DJ, and so he has to not drop the rhythm, and he closes it out. He has the rhythm, he maintains the rhythm in the DR, and the crowd hands him the maracas for the pop-off, and that was one of the craziest comebacks I have seen in top level Street Fighter 6 maybe ever. And so with that, we have our grand finals then set up, and it's a classic. It's Momochi Fudo again. Remember, Momochi is the one who ended up losing to Fudo in the regional finals. We got gatekept. He got so close to qualifying via points and then lost out on the points to Kakadu, even when he won the tournament over Kakadu. Then he loses the Admirer to Fudo, who won the regional finals again. He won the regional finals in the first season for Street Fighter 6 in 2023 in Japan, and won it again the second season. Elite consistency at that level. And Fudo just won Topanga League in Japan also, so he's been on a hot streak in terms of winning these like Grand Slam appearances, especially against fellow Japanese competitors, and he's been in, I believe, every Capcom Cup. He's up there. He's one of the few who can make that claim to fame. Conversely, Momochi hasn't been there in quite some time. It's surprising for how strong he really is and how consistent he's been in Street Fighter 6, but he actually has not managed to qualify. It's tough competition all over the world, limited spots and limited regional spots as well. So it's come down to this matchup here, and they start with the Ed Mirror, which, as I mentioned before, historically Fudo wins. Normally Fudo, I feel like, introduces a lot more of a hit and run style with Ed, you know, keeping distance from Momochi and his opponents in general with all of the ranged options, with the normals, the flickers, but also he incorporates a lot of burst options with sudden drive rush jab. That was like a main deciding factor in their previous sets, the surprise drive rush jabs. But this time Momochi stays solid, and he also cranks up his own offense as well. I mean, they nearly time each other out in the first round, and then they eventually start picking more aggressive spots to go at each other. And Momochi ends up taking the first game, but the crowd was starting to fall asleep a little bit here. It was beautiful spacing and beautiful decision making, but it was meant for a limited niche audience who cared about very safe and calculated gameplay. So instead, after this loss, you know, I think Fudo was starting to feel the rhythm after that, and he promptly switched back to his DJ. Fudo's rushing down Momochi with this a lot more aggressively, ends up baiting out a wake up level 3 in the end with a meaty jab, because you can meaty jab all of Ed's supers, and in fact, DJ's jab is actually, it recovers like a frame faster than every other jab, so it's even better at that, and he ends up punishing that super to tie up the set. After this, Momochi cooks. He's landing Ed's dream combos, he's dominating the neutral, and he takes a solid game there to bring it up to 2-1 for him. In the next game, Fudo takes a solid first round, but Momochi is firing back, spending everything he has to potentially close out against Fudo, but he has a pixel of life left. Momochi ends up going into burnout, and Fudo's trying to rush him down, but Momochi closes out that round on an attempted throw with the jump back light kick
Get ready for the dry rush plus frames. Oh, they wow the feet away!
God!
That move does not hit crouching opponents, but if you go for a throw, it forces you to stand and it will punish the throw attempt. It's only a round closer because on hit, that's actually punishable, but you can't be punished if your opponent's dead. But with that, Momochi goes up to tournament point to close it out 3-1 over one of his demons from Japan, Fudo. And at this set point, this is when I knew Fudo was a different beast. Super close round, back and forth momentum from both players. Momochi lands the dream combo to push Fudo into the corner. A throw of life away from elimination, and Momochi winning the tournament and qualifying back to Capcom Cup for the first time in Street Fighter 6. Only a bar and change for the drive gauge. Momochi forces the safe jump situation, which is going to put him into burnout anyway, so Fudo decides to go into burnout on his own terms, challenges with a light kick drive rush to get in, and look at the balls on this man in this moment. No level 1, next guess, empty jump. He's going for the block stream pressure. Fudo burns himself out. Walk in. Oh my God. He's trying to get something to a level 3 conversion. Momochi says, throw me, do whatever you want. I'm not getting hit with the level 3 plus frames. Level 2 from Fudo in response. He pressed a button. He pressed a button. Did you see the balls on this man? Fudo went to his face and said, get hit by my jab. Momochi said no. Until the end, he said, you want a turn? You want to take that turn from me. Walk up jab, walking straight into his grill. He's looking for any button to confirm to a level 3. He's daring Momochi to do anything. Momochi, with the utmost respect to Fudo's abilities to be able to punish him and confirm into a super off 1 or 2 straight hits, is saying, please throw me in this situation. I can take a throw, I won't die, and I'll eventually chip you out. And then after blocking the Superman punch, goes for the level 2 with his entire tournament life on the line and steals the round from Momochi. The lack of fear, him walking up to Momochi, staring him in the face, saying, I dare you to press a button, and then stealing it with that level 2 at the end is absolutely insane. We suddenly have a tied set, which looked like a sure win for Momochi. Then in the next game, the final game of this set, Momochi takes another solid round to go up to tournament point again. And after a lot of back and forth, Momochi lands one dream combo. Fudo fights back. Momochi built another level 2 to do another dream combo to put Fudo back into the corner. They both have about a throw and change for life. And Fudo, once again with his tournament life on the line.
Throw, of course.
One more? Oh my God! He finally did it!
For tournament.
Goes for the wake up kicks on Momochi's dry rush approach. No fear in face of elimination, making the plays that have to be done to stay alive, and Momochi just can't kill this man. Then in the final round, tournament point and set reset point, they have a pretty equal back and forth battle, but in the end, Momochi misspaces a heavy punch, and we see the sway punish counter starter from Fudo, full combo conversion into the level 3, and against all odds, we have a reset. This man came into top 8 in losers, should have lost to Moke, brought it all the way back, should have lost to Momochi and brought it all the way back, and now we're at equal footing for the first time. Fudo versus Momochi, Grand Finals reset. And after the reset, Fudo ends up taking the first game, sticking with the DJ here, and it was a solid first game, and for the first time, Fudo is actually in the lead in this tournament. Momochi is actually officially on the back foot. At this point, Momochi is fighting back, but something has changed. It doesn't feel like Fudo is fighting to stay alive. It feels like Momochi is now on the back foot in all of these interactions. Even in the rounds he's winning, he's having to make clutch comebacks in order to make it happen. He ends up on the final round of this game doing a wake up level 3 in the corner, calling out Fudo's offense. The level 3 ends up landing. He needed that to stay alive there, and he ends up closing out this next round. Still struggling in the corner. It's not easy. Had to survive the onslaught from Fudo even when he's in burnout, but ends up getting a game on the board to bring it to 1 apiece. Then game 3 of this set, super important game. You want to be the one who is up 2-1 in a set and not the one who's fighting back from 1-2. They got a round apiece here, but Momochi is on less than a throw's worth of life. He lands level 3 to put Fudo in burnout and has him in the corner, but Fudo has all 3 bars of super, so Momochi has to make something happen, and he doesn't have enough resources to really play with chipping Fudo. He's gonna block it out and survive. So he tries to sneak one past him with the sneaky DI setup cloaked by the fireball. but it does not work out. He tries to sneak it past. Fudo does have the reactions. Listen, these players are both 39 years old. They're both 39, but they seem so young. And now Fudo is one game away from not only winning a premiere in the face of defeat, but doing it all through loser's bracket to beat the demon once again to Momochi. And as this game goes on, it's clear the momentum is fully in Fudo's favor. He had found the rhythm. He takes a solid first round, and the second round is more of the same. Momochi is unable to hang on, and Fudo takes the tournament over Momochi.
And they did it correctly. Level 3 and your Blink Respawn 2025 champion. Make some noise. Fudo! My man is going to Capcom Cup.
Doing what I don't know when the last time this has been done, to take a tournament from loser's bracket. Maybe Lashard did that at CEO or Combo Breaker, but it's so rare to see something done at this level of Street Fighter. Winning tournaments from losers brackets, it's generally like less than like a 5% odds of occurring. But with that, we really see something here. Something really interesting about this grand finals, of course, to me, is the fact that we have two legends of the scene still able to compete at this highest level. I often envy the Japanese scene because in the West and in other parts of the world, the economics of being a pro player aren't established to that sense. So we have a real talent drain in other communities where I don't think it's necessarily just players not adapting to the game and not putting in the hours. It's just that there's economic realities and other pressures that force players as they age up to move on to other ventures. Whereas in Japan, you know, the economics of being a pro player, they have better sponsorship opportunities. Street Fighter League provides a much more stable income. They've really managed to create an environment where if you have the talent and you have the skill and you have the motivation to keep playing at this level, you can support yourself in doing that. And I really appreciate that that exists, so we can see players like Momochi and Fudo playing at this level. I mean, the perfect parries, the spacing, the whip punishes, it was some of the best, cleanest Street Fighter I've seen in quite some time. And the clutch plays on top of it. I hope these players can keep supporting themselves so that we can keep being entertained by their gameplay for many more years to come and compete alongside the new forming legends that are showing up every day. But it's incredible the consistency of both of these players. Fudo, always represented in a Capcom Cup. We haven't seen him win a major premiere in quite some time outside of Japan. But to see him do this, to go up against Momochi, I feel like that matchup alone is historic. And just the amount of trials and tribulations and clutch moments that Fudo went through to even get into the position to win the tournament, to never say die, to fight back, to go for the reversals when it's all on the line, betting his tournament life, was just absolutely insane. As for Momochi, you know, it's not all bad. Obviously, winning here would have been really great for him, but he got a ton of points for placing second out of this event, and he jumps to number 1 in the leaderboard. So most likely, he's going to qualify via points, which is the strength of having these point qualifiers. The top 6 players on the leaderboard will qualify to Capcom Cup, so it rewards consistency in that sense. So we might actually see Momochi in Capcom Cup as well. So Blink Respawn, ton of fun to watch, and the players put on an amazing showing. And thank you so much for watching this recap.